because you were talking about the time when you have the most severe of the Mogad flare-up, and you said you cannot have access to infusions. Did you mean infusions with pain meds, or did you mean infusions that are somehow anti-inflammatory?
That's a very good question. So anti-inflammatory helps with all autoimmune diseases and mental health and physical health. The ones that I'm prescribed and not continuing in Mexico because of the cost is rituximab. It's used many times for Mogad, and it doesn't always work. So Mogad is one of those cases that used to be confused with MS until I believe 2007. But most of the lesions start in the spine instead of the brain. And so whenever I was going to hospitals with seizures and TIA symptoms and losing my eyesight, they would do MRIs of the brain and they wouldn't see anything. So I would be prescribed a bunch of psych meds, which, you know what, even if it had been severe PTSD, I should have been disabled because of the amount of symptoms and hospitalization that I was getting. But it wasn't the case because I kept on working. So that's also part of the issue, because I had to, right? I had to. So I would lose a job and I would get another one. I would lose a job, I would get another one. And so in Mexico, so I was always complaining when I had those relapses about agonizing bone pain, specifically in the spine, specifically at night, while my lymph node would swell. So there was like a recurrent pattern throughout the years, from maybe that I started noticing 2014. And the agonizing pain got so very bad during 2021 that I was like, you know what, I need an MRI of the spine. This is unbelievable. But they wouldn't approve it in the US. So once I got to Mexico, thanks to being in a PhD program, thanks to the student loans, sure enough, I was coming down from that episode because it was already 2022, but it was still active enough for the lesions to be caught, confirming the demyelinating disease. And it was exactly where my pain always thrived, in the thoracic spine, thoracic bone. And I also had what we call the MS hug, like that. I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe. This is called the MS hug. It confirms demyelinating disease. So I had all the evidence throughout the years of having seen eye doctors for losing my eyesight, where they wrote that it was amaurosis fugax, so they thought it was related to the heart. But I had gathered so much evidence that now we're okay. We have something, we're ready to give you treatment, because whether it's Mogad, NMO, or MS, you can use rituximab for those. So I started treatment during my PhD.
Wonderful, thank you. Please do not be upset that I sometimes type in something in the computer, because sometimes when you say a word that I don't know, then I have to translate it so I understand and can follow what you say.
Oh, not a problem at all, not a problem.
So yeah, the all of these medications that end with MAB, with MAP, I know them because they also asked me if I want them orally. And I actually declined because I read the list of the things that can go wrong, like how do you say it? Say the word, negative effects. Side effects.
Yeah, the side effects.
Yes, this is the word I was searching for. So when I read this, I actually said, okay, I don't want to do this to myself. So I tried something else. I tried the way of going to the UV light bank 3 times a week. So for me, the problem was the money as well, because in the beginning, when I had huge flare-ups, like my entire body was filled with psoriasis. So it was basically like I was on fire. My entire skin was on fire. I was burning. I couldn't fall asleep because of the pain. So the dermatologist, he gave me a cream that is actually reducing the pain so that you don't feel so much, so that you can fall asleep. But then, of course, the next night you would need it again. So because it's on your entire body. So back in that days, that was around 2020, 2021, 2022. The only way how you could get into a sunbed would be $15 for 15 minutes, approximately. And that was too expensive for me because I would have needed it like 3 times a week. Okay, So I said, okay, I don't have that because I'm on welfare. So I suffered for a few years. And then I was very lucky because a company came out, it came into the city and said, okay, we have a flat rate now. You pay $40 a month and you can go as often as you want. And of course, I jumped onto the possibility because this was what saved me. So I said, thank you, God. Very nice that you brought this company to our city, because now I can pay $40 a month and I can go to the sunbed as often as I want. And of course, it reduced my pain. It reduced the inflammatory reaction on the skin. It was just fantastic. Yeah. So for me, my way was to say no to the drugs and instead go to the sunbed. But of course, this is also just possible because I do not have a job. If I had a job, it would be much harder to go into such a therapy, because the times when you have to work overlap with the times when the shop of the UV light is open, and then you have no possibility to go 3 times a week for the amount that you need. So there is always problems when you are disabled, and there is always higher cost when you are disabled. And I think those people who have prejudice against us, they do not see this. They cannot see this because they have never been in our shoes. And as you said very rightfully, because they were trained by the system to think that we are the enemy rather than somebody who profits from us, no matter if we're dead or alive, so to say. Yeah.
Yeah. What I tend to tell, sorry, go ahead.
No, say.
So I tend to tell people, I am absolutely 100% convinced that when people are well physically, mentally, and emotionally, they want to contribute to society. So if you see somebody as lazy, it's because there is something that hasn't been addressed, even if it's just emotional and mental, right? We don't know what is going on. But somebody that's happy, fulfilled, and well contributes and wants to contribute to society. But we've been told the other way, right? We've been told that those are lazy, while billionaires are sitting watching TV and making us fight over each other.
Yes, exactly. I agree. That is something that has been instilled into people since childhood, because they work very much not only with that argument that you mentioned before, where you say, oh, it is a very noble thing to do, to be in hustle culture and to burn the candle at both ends, so that in the end you will have a burnout and you can wear the burnout like a badge and say, oh my God, I was such a great worker that now I am in burnout. Yeah. Or the other way around, it is the targeting, that they have a scapegoat to point on, because when the times are getting tougher, like right now, where the prices go up and people can't afford, then they need a scapegoat. And the easiest scapegoat is, of course, the disabled person that's on welfare, because it's easy to point the finger and say, oh, that's you, because you don't work and you get all the money. So it's no matter from what direction you look, we are always the ones who look bad in this system. But I think to look through all of this game, you also need God, because personally, I think that people do not decide to wake up and smell the coffee. They do not decide to, I go down the rabbit hole, I do the research online, I find out what kind of programming there is in society. Most people won't do that because they are kept in a hamster wheel of work. So they don't even have the time to go online and research that stuff, that would involve, for example, the methods that the Stasi used in East Germany, things like that. There were a lot of such things that were already trained and tested, and we know how psychology on the masses is working and how you can convince the masses of an idea, even though it's to that detriment to believe this idea. Yeah. So all of the indoctrination, the propaganda, you could research it and you could find out what is actually happening, but people do not have the time or the energy to actually do that. So I think it's also a gift from God. For me, that's how I see it. It's a gift from God. God said, okay, I'm going to give Tanya a severe disability. Therefore, she will sit at home for years not working. Therefore, she will have the time to actually dive deep into the topic, find out what's really going on in the world. And then she will have a YouTube channel where she actually tells people about this, because other people do not have the time to dig. They do not have the time to interview people like us. So Basically, that's my gift in it. That's how I see the positive in the whole thing. Yes, I might be poor, and yes, one day when my parents are dead, I might die of starvation, but it is still a gift, and God has a plan, and God knows why he's doing that with me. So I think it's still very, very purposeful what we are doing.
Absolutely, yes. I am more. I think I don't think you're gonna starve because you made me uncomfortable here. I try to believe in manifestation, like words have power, and so because again, faith does a lot. So I see you succeeding and overcoming all of the odds and changing the system. Whatever you need to envision to make it, I believe in you. So
thank you. This is a very powerful manifestation that you just did for me. Thank you very much. But I see it like this. Just like the dark side sees that they win either way, no matter if we live or die, I also say I win either way. Because if I die, I go to heaven and Jesus will welcome me with open arms. Whereas some other people might not. Yeah. Some other people might stay a poltergeist on earth. I don't know. Yeah. Go to some house and scare the people there. So even if that would happen, I am still safe because after my awakening experience, I don't know if you had something like that, but I had a spiritual awakening experience as I was diving deep into the Advaita Vedanta, which is old Vedic scripture. So after I had this, I realized I am not this body, I am not this name, I am not this person, I am actually the source which is watching this person play out a life, a human life. And as soon as that realization was there, the whole thing was no problem anymore. I said, well, then there is nothing to fear. What do I have to fear now? I do have nothing to lose at all because, everything that I used to own or have is already gone. My house is gone, my car is gone, my money is gone, my savings gone, my cat is gone, my friends are gone. So what do they want to take from me? There's nothing they can threaten me with, right? So there is no need to fear, no need to be sad, nothing. I just live. I breathe in, I breathe out. And that's it. That's all there is. And there is nothing to it. And there is no need to change anything, no need to do anything. It's fine the way it is. And as soon as you arrive at that point, there is not much that can shock you anymore, especially if you have been diving deep into certain rabbit holes, like all of the stuff that is coming out in the Epstein files now is something I have read 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I already knew this. And when I said it to people, they were going like, you're a tinfoil hat and you're cray cray. So now I sit there and everybody's super shocked and I sit there like, well, I told you. But you didn't want to believe. So for me, there is absolutely nothing anymore that can come that would shock me or throw me off the rail or anything. If I live, I'm super happy. If I die, I'm super happy. Because after all, I do not have a reason to live, but I also do not have a reason to die. I am just fine where I am, and it doesn't matter where that is. So for me,
that's a beautiful place to be. Yes, I think that a lot of people that have materialistic things have been sold their spirit. They have lost their passion for life, and they don't remember what they wanted to do when they were kids. And that's truly handing it to the system. But once you have nothing, you have two choices. Okay, the only thing I have left is my spirit, which keeps me bright, alive, moving forward, no matter what, no matter where. Or I also give that to the system and I just fall deep into depression and makes them win easier, right? So I used to be severely depressed. I mean severely depressed. I experienced post-traumatic growth, like I said, beginning of 2022, which is what I would, divine intervention meets post-traumatic growth, something like that. And I started remaking I started working a lot on brain rewiring. So I did a lot of work on myself, everything that I listened to, not everything, because I'm also highly involved in social justice. So I do hear the negative narratives of how horrible the world is right now. But I balanced it out so intentionally with trying to watch my words, trying to watch what I read, trying to listen to inspiring podcasts and people overcoming the odds. Like, you know what? If I had a daughter, I would want her to believe in the impossible. I would want her to change the system, never get bought, never give away her soul, never give up on her spirit, be as delusional in the most beautiful way that you can ever be. And that has kept me moving. This is why I now have my LLC company. I'm working on making a documentary and a movie, and I've gotten a few books out, and I'm connecting with people, amazing people like you, which reach out to me from the other side of the world. So I feel blessed beyond measure and reassured constantly that there is a reason for all this.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm so thankful for all of it. The lowest one, the lowest point in my life wouldn't, if they hadn't happened, I probably would have never met you today, because I wouldn't have a LinkedIn, because I wouldn't have done podcasts or work on that documentary. So I try to see all this, okay, where is the lesson and the reassurance? And every single day I'm bombarded by blessings that I didn't have a few years ago.
For me, the method you chose to say to your hypothetical child, that would not be the right method for me, because I know myself, if I would go into hyper hope, then I would also go to a hyper disappointment. So for me, that's not the ideal. I always try to stay as realistic as possible, so not super hyped and positive, and also not super fear-mongering. But let's stay with what is fact, and let's stay with what we can work with right now. That is my personal approach. And the reason why I do that is because of, I don't know if you ever have heard the word louche. So they intentionally, the system will make the masses have high hopes, because when they destroy the hopes of the masses by saying, oops, sorry, we don't have health insurance anymore, you have to pay all of your medications for yourself, bye-bye. Then many people go into shock response, because for years they have been expecting that their medication is paid and stuff. So they keep you in this hope. They tell you, everything's safe, everything's fine, nothing's happening. And then boom, they will announce that something is wrong. And they do this intentionally because they can get so much energy. The human being is like a battery. If it exudes emotion, it changes their vibration, it changes the frequency of the human body and the field around the human body. You know about the magnetic field from our hearts, and it changes dramatically, which in turn gives certain, let's say, beings or entities, the possibility to feed on that. So this is done intentionally to give people the highest hopes so that they fall very hard. And this is also a reason why I personally, if I would have children, which of course I don't, the poor children, that I wouldn't tell my children, because I would warn them. I would warn them and say, never have too high hopes, but always stay with what is logical, with what is fact, and you can predict from there. Yeah. And also they give us a lot of predictive programming. They tell us what the future will bring. They have shown us in so many ways. They've shown us in movies. They have shown us everything before. Even the whole system with Epstein is actually packed into the movie Peter Pan, if you look closely. Yeah. So they have told us everything, and they have also told us their future plans. They have told us that they basically want Europe to go into the same state where China is now. So constant surveillance, including a social credit system, meaning if you cross the zebra at a red light instead of a green light, your account is closed and you cannot buy food anymore for that day. So basically, in a nutshell, yeah, extreme control and extreme surveillance. So for me personally, yes, it is absolutely okay to dream big. It's absolutely okay to manifest world peace. There's nothing wrong about it. Absolutely not. But it would take, in my opinion, an extreme divine intervention, like basically an awakening for all of humanity in one day. With such a divine intervention, sure, everybody would say, excuse me, I'm not going to an election anymore because I'm electing the enemy. it doesn't matter which party I elect the enemy. So they wouldn't give legitimization to these people anymore that reign the world. So basically a big divine intervention would be the thing that would lead us out of this current trajectory that we're on, I think.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I do want to stress that I don't tell people what to choose for their life. What we need is to know thyself, know ourselves, right? So you know exactly what you need, which is to stay realistic. And you know this because of your calculation of how you've been and what you know about the world. So this is your path, absolutely. For me, I used to be fatalistic for 35, 36, 37, I don't even know, years. And so I have noticed that after that divine intervention / post-traumatic growth, who knows what happened, just that rock bottom, I felt that desire and visceral need to be delusional. And ever since, it has worked for me because I've been in homeless shelters, and I have been with 7 cents in my account and unable to buy very basic needs like hygiene stuff. So I feel that everybody has a different route and a different calling. And as long as we resonate with our heart, so like you're resonating with your heart, knowing that you wouldn't tell that little girl to be delusional faith because you don't want her to get hurt by the system who's going to soak the energy. My path has been redirected differently, which is good as long as it works, right? Everybody needs something different as long as it's not dictated by the system, but because we know ourselves. You mentioned movies. I think that you're right. Movies have our inspiration of writing books and movies is based on intuition, which comes from the heart. So there are countless warning signs about the future, whether we're talking about global warming or a war. And what comes to mind to me is the Hunger Games. So we know like that control thing of fighting against one another once there is a capital that's in control. But we still have to choose our lesson from those movies. And those lesson is that you can be the difference. You can be the one that rebels and inspires because you have that inner strength that was granted to you at that moment. Another one that comes to mind, because I see that you're neurodivergent like me, which I think is a superpower now. I used to see it as something to be ashamed of and hide as much as possible. But there is a movie called Divergent. I don't know if you've seen it.
No.
I highly recommend people to watch that movie because I think that, again, filled with warning signs of where we're headed, but who are you going to be? Because the divergent ones are the ones that have that ability to make that difference. So,
because you mentioned the Hunger Games and all of the other movies that contain this narrative of evil guys and good guys, white hats, black hats, yeah? It's all based on the same thing, but the difference is in the movies, the human beings that watch the movies always side with the good guy. They want to help him. If they could jump into the movie, they would help the good guy, they say, yeah? But as soon as they are in reality, they will automatically help the bad guy because they are kept in that hamster wheel where they don't even see what's going on around them because they're so immersed in all of the stress, the work, the bills, bringing the kids to the sports game. The father is maybe having an affair or he wants a divorce and whatnot. So it's getting crazy in their life. So they do not have even the slightest possibility to see in real life who is the good guy and who is the bad guy. And even that is a danger in itself because the American system has a very dualistic way of politics. Yeah, they have the donkeys and I think it's the elephants, right? So even this is a divide and conquer game. So even if you do decide for one of the sides, you are also in any case providing something good for the bad guy. And this is the next thing that you would have to step out of. This is the next level that you would have to realize that the right and the left wing belong to the same bird, and that same bird doesn't mean very well for you, the little mouse. So there are levels to this, and getting out from that current state, from the whole hamster wheel working state into the knowledge is a very hard thing to do. So it's practically impossible if you're in there. Yeah. But as we know, in the future, there will be mass unemployment. And with this mass unemployment coming, some people might have actually the time to realize and figure out in the masses, because they will not have a job, because the AI and the robot will replace them. So maybe that's a chance for God to bring in that divine intervention and say, look, now that you're sitting at home having all this time, how about this nice book? So yeah, there is a hope. There is a hope.
There is. They are controlling books in the United States as well. I mean, the education system. What you're mentioning is absolutely true. You're right. We're sitting in a movie theater and everybody's rooting for the hero, but in real life, they lack courage. And they lack courage because they've been controlled through fear. The fear narrative of, they won't be enough for my family, so I need to fight that person. Or I need to pay my mortgage because if I don't have a house, then my kid's blank. All this division is so intentional to control us so that we don't become that hero in the movie. And there are a few people out there that won't get bought no matter what. And in fact, I believe those people have the ability to help free others from fear. And this is their task on earth. Like you, I think you're doing that through your podcast. I'm doing this in a different way by repeating the narrative of, you know what, if manifestation is real, because the power of the heart with aligning with the thought of desired outcome is maintained, sustained, embodied, then it comes to life, then we can go big. There's people like Jim Carrey. I love Jim Carrey, who talks about how he manifested his millions of dollars while being homeless, living in his car. There are countless stories like that. And those are the stories that we need to expose ourselves to so that we build on what we need. So for me, I need the delusional faith. For you, it's finding that balance with reality. For the next person, it might be to be rebellious and negative, and all of it has its purpose, right?
You actually led me to a very interesting picture in my mind. Imagine a triangle, and on each dot of corner of the triangle, you have a word with T. You have truth, targeting, and torture. And the reason why I connect these is because if you tell the truth, if you are authentic, you will be targeted. If you are targeted and the scapegoat, you will be tortured because you will lose a lot of things. Yeah? You will lose your livelihood and everything. But that brings you right back into truth, because the more the system is torturing you, the more authentic you become, because then you have nothing to lose anymore. So it's a triangle of truth, targeting, and torture. And for me, this targeting, it went on for more than 20 years. Like in 2004, they first targeted me because they realized, like you, that I have a mind that thinks in different layers. I am quite smart. I can, with pattern recognition, I can put pieces together that other people cannot see. So they immediately saw me as a danger. And for many, many years, actually between 2004 and 2020, I didn't know I was a target. I didn't know that I experienced all of the things that come with targeting, which is very, very detrimental to your life and to your health. But as soon as I found out and I learned all of their methods, which are basically the same methods that Stasi used against the East Germans, so Zersetzung in the widest sense. So these kind of things, the smear campaign and all of that, it led me to open my mind for what is possible, and also for what is possible on the side of evil. So right now I'm in a state where I can hold the space for all that there is. I can hold the space for the Most High, for love, for goodness, but I can also hold the space and the knowing of how many absolutely disgusting atrocities the evil side can do. And not many people can hold that. Many people, when I speak about it, they immediately close up, because for them it's way too much to hold. The horror, the torture, the ripping apart the babies, etc. So all of that is too much for them, but I can hold it because I already worked through the whole thing since 2020. When I found out, of course, I had a natural human reaction. I cried for the children that have died in such huge numbers. But also when I worked through it and I dealt with these emotions and looked behind every single trigger I had, then after that, now I am like a huge plate that can carry a lot of weight. I can carry much more than other people. I'm basically like Hulk Hogan, you know, or Chuck Norris in the spiritual realm. Yeah, I can hold knowledge for both sides, and this is a superpower, as you said very rightfully.
Awesome. Yes, I am cheering you on from the other side of Earth.
Wow, this interview is 1 hour now, and it went completely different than we actually thought.
No, we can schedule another one at your liking.
Yes, I think so too. It's absolutely no problem. We will exist a little longer, even though they don't like us to. So yeah, we will do that, definitely.
You can reschedule as many times as you need, because I believe that it is meant to be. That friendship is going to happen all over the world, right? You and I, we start, and then more friends around the world.
Yes, we will find the right people. So I hope that even though I recorded this with my handy camera, that still it will be fine. It will be a bit of a less quality, but that's okay. Those who have to see this information will get it anyway. And yeah, thank you so much for the time that you have been taking, and I wish you a very good day over there on the other side of the world. And here it's starting to be night, and I will go to sleep later.
Likewise, my dear, I wish you a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
We'll be in touch.